Yo, what's going on, man? Today is October the 15th. Two more NBA previews on the ChrisBeCappinn Show today. The like button for me as if you can as you join. Let's jump into it, man. Quick recap. We are on the Washington Wizards and the Denver Nuggets. So literally this video, two more videos, Raptors and the Mavs and the Pelicans and the Hornets. And that will be every NBA team preview. Went through subtractions, additions, strength of schedule, new coaching changes, you name it. Recap of last year, projections for this year, some strong opinions, some not so strong opinions. I never get on here and talk about, things that I don't feel like, tell you guys something I don't feel super confident in. If I don't really have a strong thought, I'll tell you guys I don't have a strong thought, which I think is okay to not have strong thoughts on every single team. Let's jump into it though for today. We got a good team and a bad team. We'll start with the bad team first. The Washington Wizards projected to do really, really well, to do really, really poor this season. Last season, this was a team, and I won't be on the Washington Wizards for super long time, but always got to do my due diligence with every single team. 15-67 last year was this Washington Wizards team. 15-67 straight up, 37-41-4 against the number. They started the season really, really bad. 2-19 right out the gate. The 67 losses was the franchise record. Like they have never lost that many in their history. So of course, Jordan Poole comes over first year away from Steve Kerr's system, and he looked lost. He shot 32% from the three-point line, couldn't guard anybody, couldn't make plays. It looked really, really bad last season. Kyle Kuzma put up some bottomless stats that didn't really, amount to anything. They did have the trade in the middle of the year. It didn't really, seem to make too much of a deal with the Detroit Pistons. And they do re-sign a couple guys that I'm not sure how much it's going to mean this season either. Anthony Gill returns to the team. Rashawn Holmes is still there as well. And you do add Saddiq Bey. They get Malcolm Brogdon in the trade for the trade that actually sent Denny Avdia to the Trailblazers. And Jonas Valanciunas also comes over. So, you could say they have more, NBA type players, but there's a chance that even these players won't be on the team at the end of the season. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I'm very, very interested to see how that plays out for this team. Some of these players out, like Malcolm Brogdon, or Valanciunas, or Saddiq Bey, they may end up on a different team. Before the season ends. This will be a rebuild for Washington, of course. The next of a rebuild. They did go out and get Alex Sarr. They drafted him with the number 2 overall pick. Carrington, I'm sorry. Take him with the 14th overall pick as well. And they got a lot of other draft picks, none of which I think is going to really matter a lot. Denny Avdia at times felt like he was the best player on the team last year. And they traded him. It's senseless to me. He still had plenty of time on his contract, but for whatever reason, they want an injury-prone Malcolm Brogdon. And I love Malcolm Brogdon. I just thought the trade just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Tyus Jones, of course, is in Phoenix now, and Landry Shamet is in New York with the Knickerbockers this year. So I talked about him drafting Sarr. He's a 7-footer who is a Frenchman as well. He played pro basketball in Australia, so I really didn't get a chance to watch him play too much. He also played pretty poorly in the summer league over the summer, so not really sure what we're going to get from him, but, he'll be out there. Why not throw him out there to the Wolves and just let his game develop? Kuzma could also probably be on the trading block. It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up potentially being traded so they could develop some of this young talent and, kind of try to just remain competitive, honestly, on most nights. I do think that they'll be back in the lottery again next season, and then the run-ins for Cooper Flag, if I'm in all seriousness. This was a really, really bad team. On some nights, I do kind of anticipate this Washington Wizards team to not really look like an NBA team. Like, I expect them to get blown out some nights by 30, 40 points at times. I saw a tweet yesterday that said that the Washington, and granted it's preseason, but I saw a tweet yesterday that said the Washington Wizards had lost on average by a margin of 29.5 points so far in the preseason. So Yeah, it's just I just don't think it's going to be good. They struggled to score the basketball last year. To put some numbers behind it, they were 25th in points scored per 100 possessions. They were 30th in offensive rebound rate. They were 29th at getting to the free throw line. So no offensive rebounds. They shot no free throws. They had the third worst the third worst net rating. Lost games by average of 10 points per contest. So I mean, I could go on and on, but this was not a good team in the half court. Not a good team in transition. Well, they did get out and run in transition. I'll give them that, but not a lot of putbacks, not a lot of points scored, not a lot of offensive rebounds, not a lot of second chance opportunities. And then defensively, second worst as well. Gave up the second most points scored per 100 possessions. They gave up the most offensive rebounds. It was just all around bad for the Wizards. And you can see just for them to make the Eastern Conference play-in tournament, not the playoffs, the play-in, you can get them at plus 1,200. I mean, those are long odds just to make the play-in game. Probably the longest of any team because I do think that they have the second lowest win total behind the Brooklyn Nets at 20.5. So I think they struggle to get to 20 wins this season. They don't have any chance of winning the Southeast Division. I'm not even sure why I even posted that. Really probably just to, do my due diligence. But yeah, this is not a team that is going to do well this season at all. I'm not even sure if there's a player prop to bet on. I do think Kumbawali, I think is how you pronounce his name. I do think that he'll continue to develop his game and he'll look better this year than he did last year in his rookie season. But outside of Bilal, I think this is a dumpster fire. The Washington Wizards are. They should actually let me in the game for free, being that it's the closest franchise that I live. Closest franchise I live. The closest franchise that I live next to of all the franchises in the NBA. They should let more than just me. They should let other people in for free as well. Let's move on to a competitive team now. I said one bad, one good. We got the Denver Nuggets. They are a team that was coming off a championship and couldn't quite get back to the promised land. Last year they finished 57-25 straight up. In the regular season, they were 38-42-2 against the number. They did go 7-5 straight up in the playoffs, 5-7 against the number before losing in Game 7 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the writing was on the wall. It was difficult for me to bet against the Nuggets last season, just because I know what Jokic is capable of, and I think anybody who watched them, go on their rampage 2 years ago, they know what he's capable of as well. But you could say the writing was kind of on the wall because last year, after they lost Bruce Brown, 2 years ago after they lost Bruce Brown, you could kind of fill that void and knew that Christian Braun wasn't quite ready to step up. Julian Strawther was pretty new to the NBA as well. So you could say the writing was on the wall. They didn't bring him back, and their lack of depth really, really hurt. So now this year, you lose KCP and Reggie Jackson. And I know you get Russell Westbrook and Sarge. Sarge is somebody that's going to be able to stretch the floor, provide some three-point shooting, which is what they lacked last season, outside of a couple key guys. The Denver Nuggets was actually one of the only teams in the NBA that didn't shoot the three-point ball really well or shoot the three-point ball with a lot of volume. That was a good team. Most good teams last year, like teams that made the playoffs, they shot the three-point ball a lot. Some correlation between all those analytics and actually getting to the playoffs. The other big thing from last season that really hindered this team was, outside of their lack of depth, especially on their bench, it was Jamal Murray. With him being injured, that really, really hurt the team, specifically towards the end of the season. And just going back to Denver's bench real quick, this was a team that averaged 29 points per game. Their bench averaged 29 points per game, which was the sixth fewest in the NBA. But then when they got to the postseason, they averaged 14.8. And everybody's scoring drops, but it shouldn't get cut in half. 14.8 points per game on 35% shooting and 30% from the three-point line. The 14.8 points was the second fewest behind only the Lakers in the postseason. This was not a team that could score the basketball. So they go out, they re-sign DeAndre Jordan, keep him on the team. They give Jamal Murray his bag. They bring over Sarge, bring over Westbrook, which I don't like the fit for Westbrook at all, but I do think it gives the second unit some type of energy. Like you need something, and they were able to get him for dirt cheap because Westbrook, it's not a big market for Westbrook at this point in time in his career. I really don't like KCP leaving this team. A 3-and-D guy that's going to take on guarding the other team's best player is going to lead to Christian Braun really having to step his game up and fill a void for KCP now. Julian Strawther, I mentioned his name, also going to have a bigger role. He should be in line for more minutes. Liking what I'm seeing from him out of the preseason so far. I do think, Jokic has a really good track record of staying healthy. And if that remains true, the Nuggets should be able to go as far as Jamal Murray can take them, because he didn't quite look like himself in the Olympics. Jamal Murray didn't. And he also only averaged 20.5 points on 40% shooting in the 12 playoff games last year. If you compare his playoff numbers, the 20.5 points on 40% shooting in last year's playoffs when they got knocked out to the Timberwolves, the 2 seasons ago, where they won the championship against the Miami Heat, he averaged 26 points per game on 47% shooting and 40% from the three-point line in 20 games. So Jamal Murray's going to have to, I know he was dealing with some injuries, but to me, we know we're going to get from Jokic. It's all about Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr., hopefully can continue to ascend his game as well, for Mike Malone's sake. And the Nuggets, I do think that they'll compete again this year. I just don't think that it'll be for a championship unless they, make some kind of move. I do think that they're missing a third guy. Can it be Michael Porter Jr.? Yes, but Jamal Murray also has to step up in the West. I keep saying it during all these previews. The West just keeps getting better, in my opinion. The West just gets better and better and better. So you can see them to win the championship. The best odds you can get right now is on FanDuel, 11-1. To win the Northwest Division, they're actually, I think, third behind the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the odds-out favorite. So you can get them at plus 325 on Caesars to win that Northwest Division. The regular season win total seems appropriate to me. 51 wins is a lot, but this is a Denver Nuggets team that has the easiest strength of schedule. You got 10 games with the rest advantage, 14 without, 16 back-to-backs is a league high, but when you factor in the mileage that they have to fly, when you factor in the altitude that, encapsulates this team home court advantage, and just strength of schedule in general, they have the easiest of all teams in the NBA this season. So Denver should be in line. Sometimes the opposite of, thinking that Denver is, just automatically going to fade, I think is sometimes, you can get the NBA hangover, the championship hangover. And it's really hard to go back to back. And I think that's what we saw last year. Jamal Murray's injury, lack of depth, which to me still feels apparent for his team, unless you get, really, really key contributions from a Westbrook, from, Saric, from a Strawther, from, a Christian Braun. Like, they're going to have to play really, really good in order for the Nuggets to contend for a championship. So I don't like their championship odds here. I think the plus 1100 feels about appropriate. I don't think that they're going to win it, but it's hard to write off Jokic. You've seen him, kind of put teams on his back, and, just whatever they need to do, he somehow finds a way to get it done. So no bet right now for me on the Nuggets, but that's how I'm kind of thinking about the Nuggets. Let me know what you think about the Nuggets. Also, let me know what you think about the Wizards. Will they be as trash as I think they will be? Because if I had to take their win total, I think I would only be looking towards the under. At 20.5, I think they could probably struggle to get to 17 wins this season. Or will they go over? And let me know your thoughts on the Denver Nuggets as well. Resources, as always, are here if you guys are interested in checking these out. Make sure you use those referral codes that are in the description of the video, and the ones that you guys can see on the screen here, so you can save if you're interested. And that'll be the preview for these two teams. Like I said, just a couple more left before the NBA season actually starts. So if you enjoy these, leave me a thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video, share the video. All those things are helpful for the algorithm. Catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.